There's so much I have to do now just to go live on to God, remember to guard your privacy and abide. What? I guess I'm live? Hold on. Hang on. And weird. I gotta try this again. So weird. Anyways, let me stop the music. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Oh, so unprofessional at times. Done. Okay. Delete, upload, delete. Okay. There we go. Let's go. Oh, I see. Okay. There we go. We're getting it. We're getting it. Welcome everybody. Um, I was on the wrong thing. What a what a silly girl I am. What a silly girl. That's all I'm gonna say. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to the winter solstice. A winter solstice. Yes. Mm. What a beautiful, beautiful day. It is when the sun stands still in the heavens. And it is where the death of the sun god, the sun god is gone. He is dead. So we have a death to the sun god, and we're wanting to bring back the light, wanting to bring back the magic of what the light is. So here we are. We're going to bring back this beautiful magic, this beautiful um, cosmic energy. And it's really nice because as the sun ingresses into Capricorn, it's going to make a trine over to the moon in uh, Taurus, which is with Jupiter, which really helps to, because that's our outer and inner energy and really establish some kind of foundational work for ourselves. And the moon, is wanting us to really step into that beautiful part of ourselves, right? And look at our truth and our values. It is a challenge. This is a challenge. I think we're going to be challenged on many different levels as we are going into the Capricorn season. And what those challenges will be is being uncovered as Mercury is in retrograde. And I think it's, going back to when Mercury went retrograde at 8 degrees, plus when it stopped and went forward at 8 degrees. That 8 degrees in Capricorn is a very powerful, like it's a reveal. There's something there that the cosmos wants you to know, things in astrology just don't happen. So there's always a definition, a reason, a history of why it does. And when you have something that is very odd, that happens, then you sort of take a look at it because there's information. Mercury's a god of information. He's Hermes. He wants you to know things, and sometimes he is a trickster, and he does want to trick you in some way and get you to look over here kind of thing. But when he's in Capricorn, there is this um order that has to be done, and trying to put things into order. So I think there's this, coming forth and really capturing what it is within ourselves and within our subconscious that we need to really look at and put into good order. And Mars in Sagittarius wants to have a good adventure. He doesn't want to get into the psychological bullshit kind of stuff. He wants to have this good adventure. He's in Sag. He's in this beautiful fiery energy, and he really wants to go forth. And he doesn't want to get into believing all the crazy and all the nuttiness of the subconscious and getting into belief systems that don't really align with him, that aren't part of his values. And Mercury is trying to make sure, but Mercury's moving very quickly. And it is, as it makes its Cazini tonight with the sun, and then ingresses back into Sagittarius. This is where you're going to see a little bit of cray start to happen. Information coming out, information that seems not plausible, information that feels not within alignment. This is where, because Mercury goes back into detriment when it goes back into Sagittarius. So it goes back to a place it doesn't really like. So that can cause a little bit of cray cray, can cause a little bit of, of you know, crazy belief systems. But this is really wanting you to be your natural self. This is who I am. This is what I do. I'm coming out with to give people information, help you along your journey, help to uplift you so that you feel enlightened, embraced within this journey, and that you feel empowered. And that's the real big part of why I do what I do. This energy of this winter solstice is very beautiful. I love the winter solstice. um I love the idea that the light, the sun is coming back. It's going to be with us a little bit longer each and every single day, which is beautiful. But this is also where we are coming into the dark, right? The darkness is there, and it is where the sun god dies before it rebirths. On the 25th of December is when the sun comes back into that fullness, and it's there for, another 2 minutes. In the sky. So this is where, when we have the sun gods, the sun gods, if you look into the sun gods all over the world, all in the different pantheons, and you find that, these sun gods, when there is a disappearance, that chaos happens. It's when the light is dimmed, so you can't really see. And you, who are just, not the sun god, but just, doing your little job, this is when craziness can happen in your realm. And this is where you really have to be aware. Do simmer pots, which are absolutely fabulous at this time. So doing things, with cinnamon and nutmeg. If you have the Scott Cunningham encyclopedia on herbs, definitely pull it out. He has some beautiful recipes in there, and I recommend that book. I've given that book away so many times, and then rebought it, and then given it away. I have a copy now, and I'm not giving it away. I'm like, people, you go buy your own. You go buy your own copy now. It has so much detail in there, and alignments with the planets, as you're doing it. And it's really, the thing is that when you are doing your simmer pot, if you're going to share it, I'm going to say leave out an ingredient. Don't tell everybody all the ingredients that you're putting into your simmer pot. Just because some people may want to reverse your simmer pot of protection. If you have a little vial, get a little vial. And I keep on thinking about that because I got vials here, and I'm going to put a little vial just outside my door here, to, for protection. Mistletoe. That's why mistletoe is hung by the door. Mistletoe is a protection from evil spirits. And so putting mistletoe and hanging it by the door, that was part of it, right? So that is, you know, those little things that our ancient ancestors used to do are quite, I know, they're quite symbolic and meaningful, and very meaningful today in a world where there is, a lot that is unfolding, that even back back in the day when people would come over to my house, and we would have full moon and new moon meditations and rituals. I talked about, things about the EU. I would talk about borders, and borders moving, and immigration, and migration, and things like that. And that was, saying that I could see this, coming forward. And that's, where I can see even now. And as for my predictions for 2024, where 2024 is going to be such a, I'm going to say it's a very transitional year. There's a lot of there's this light coming through, but the light, it has to come through a huge density, and coming through that huge, it's almost where you have to be in your heart and open that up. It's like where where there has to be a meeting between the two, between what is coming down and and our light coming up. And it may feel for a lot of light workers that are doing this work very overwhelming, very stressful. That's why we want to take this time during the winter solstice and sort of, yeah, let's create, a really strong foundation in protection, and create a strong foundation in what we are wanting to do in our world. And that's why in January, when we do the I'm going to call it the emergence, or the releasing of 2023, and we're going in there. And the program for 2024 that I really feel is like where we need to shed off the deepness of the shadow and really get into our truth, and shedding that off. And it's almost like dust particles that are coming off of us, gray dust particles, because many have been cloaked, or um not wanting to be visible for so long. And the fear of being visible means the fear that people are going to point fingers at you, people are going to see you, right? And if they see you, then it's where, if people see you in your truth, it's like almost where you're afraid that you're gonna get knocked down, or you're gonna get hurt, or something's gonna get taken away from you. And I'm not gonna say that's not true, you know? That when you stand up in your truth, not everybody's going to believe what you say. It's not everybody's not gonna believe what they're gonna might think that you're crazy, right? Don't I know it? I mean, when I started to do, and I really, if I stepped in, and this is going way back in the day, baby, when I was doing Mother Mary's mystical offerings. When I was doing Mother Mary's mystical offerings, I got like such flack. One, and this is like pre-internet and stuff like that, and doing things. It was where people would they didn't want to see the witchy side, right? They were afraid of the witchy side. In Penticton, Naramata, it was known as sort of the witch center. There were a lot of witches out there, and there were black witches and white witches. And um when you start dealing with the realm of the witches, especially in Penticton, witches, I never really spoke about it too much. um People get very leery because they know of, or heard of, the witches, that were out there. And when people, you know, I met a few that were white witches, but I met a few that were not of the light side. Because they don't like it when you are trying to come out, when you are trying to show and be who you are. There was one woman I remember, that was there, and a good friend of mine owned a beautiful lingerie shop in Caroline, owned this beautiful lingerie shop, and this one woman came in and sort of gave her a reading. And Caroline called me up. She goes, "This woman came in, and it's really weird. And I really didn't ask for the reading, but she gave me the reading anyways. And I just feel weird, Mary. What should I do?" So went down to her place. And of course, you don't, with lingerie, you don't want to sage, right? Because of the smell and everything else. So we set up some salt in the air in her place. We added lavender up there. We added, different things that were very, people wouldn't really take much notice of, and they think, it's very sexy to have. So little sprigs of maybe lavender, and some fresh sage, and that in and around her, making sachets and stuff. But it was very interesting how powerful this woman was, trying to sort of overtake Caroline. For whatever reason, she was like a succubus and trying to take her energy. Anyways, the reason I'm bringing this up is that you stand out there, and there is that there, because we're coming into, well, we are in a battle. We are in a battle of the light and the dark, and the winter solstice is showing us, that there is the heavens above that are really trying to show you to stand in your power, stand in your values. And even with Saturn and Neptune and Pisces can get really messy because, you know, Neptune owns Pisces, right? That's the water. And as we are wanting to go into the age of Aquarius, we have to go back into the age of the Pisces to release whatever hooks and roots that are dead, that don't need we don't need them anymore. We need to shake them off and put them out to be recycled. Like, we don't need those anymore. There's a foundation there that is no longer in alignment. And I was mentioning that the other day, where beautiful books that were written during this time, or I'm going to say pre 2019, or even pre 2012, or the time between 2012 and 2020. These books that came out aren't going to be they're not going to be aligned with what the new energies that are coming in, and this light and this work that's coming in for us. So some of those that came out, um yes, there's references there, but there's such a new illumination, and we have to prepare in the now. So, and preparing in the now means that even in this time of the winter solstice, we got to take this time to release, let go, look at the foundation. This is beginning of the sleep time. This is the beginning of the moodle time. This is the beginning of really looking at what it is that you want to create. And when we have that Venus opposition to Uranus, Uranus is the higher self, wanting to obtain that higher self. Now, it's very difficult because Uranus in Taurus is a difficult time because it can't move as fast. It doesn't have that freedom to flow like it does in air in Aquarius. It doesn't have that movement of freedom of the air. It's in Earth. And here's Saturn that is in Pisces, that is like all over the place, and it wants Earth. It wants that grounding. It wants that feeling of, yes, this is my fixture. This is the fourth that I want to go with. But we've had it. We've had him for like 6 years in his home sign. And it's like, did you not learn anything in the last 6 years? Did you not see what I was trying to show you in the last 6 years? And now he's in Pisces. Now you got to take that last 6 years and bring it into your spiritual realm. Does it align? Does that align? Does that muggle life, that what you are wanting or thinking that is concrete, align with that of the spiritual realm? And if they don't line, if they're missing, it's going to be mucky and muddy and messy. It's water and earth. So the water and earth. And we're just coming in at this, just as it's as this moon and sun transition into earth signs from fire, which is the passion and the movement, and let's get going, into the earth. Is like, now we have to do the work. Now we really have to start looking at it, where we are being pulled, where we are being driven, what is alignment, and not getting mucked up in belief systems that somebody wants to argue with you. It's like, no, all right, I'm not going to argue with you with that. That's fine, right? You got to believe what you got to believe. Like, there's that Civil War movie that's coming out in the spring of next year. I just gotta say, it's yeah, I've seen previews and stuff like that. I know my son can get it for me to watch. Anyways. Um, but there's a weird feeling I have with going into 2024 as when I had for going into 2020. That oddity, that change, that transformation that's going to come. And that's what Mercury's trying to show you. And you watch, even some of the headlines, the crazy headlines that come in, what was it? The one about, okay, political, the one about Trump. Trump cannot be on the ballot in Colorado and because of this amendment, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, can they actually do that? He's a presidential candidate. He was a president. He's still able to run. I mean, no, that was just a headline just to get people riled up, right? And that's the whole thing. It's like, what are they doing to try and get you riled up? Because it still has to go to the Supreme Court. They can't take his name off the ballot until it goes to the Supreme Court, which it'll get overturned, right? Because he really hasn't been charged with anything, and even if he was, it's a whole little, you know, anyways, thing there. But this is just to get people going, and then the arguments and the crazy, and that's what Pisces loves, because that's the media. And let me see what I can divert you with, because that's the other part of Pisces. He likes to play with you. Neptune is, Neptune is, I always say Pisces, but Neptune, he does that. He doesn't come forth out to tell you what it is, like, because you have to go within. You have to work within that spiritual side. You have to come into that depth and come into that trust. Every time you trust, it gets stronger. So the first time you trust, or you begin to trust, or you're trusting the divine or source or your higher self, when you start to trust, it's like your guides start to lead you. It's like you're going on a tightrope across a canyon, and your guides go with you. They walk with you about 3/4 of the way, and then they stop. It's not that they're not there, but they're it's like, here, you got a quarter of the way. You've done 3/4. Let's do the next quarter. So you have to trust in that next quarter. You get to the other side and you're like, whew, yeah, I did it. And then you see the rope get a little wider, and it has supports on either side, right? And you got to go across it again. And then you see, oh, it's a little wider. It's like a little wooden bridge. And each time it gets stronger. Does doubt come in? Definitely doubt comes in. And when that doubt comes in, it's like admitting, I got doubt. I'm scared. It's not denying those feelings. When we deny the feelings, we push them down, we're not dealing. It's like really looking at, okay, yeah, why don't I align with that person? Oh, okay, my truth, they're kind of pessimistic, or they're saying things that make me feel uneasy. Why are they making me feel uneasy? Because there's something inside of me that I have to look at, and there's some kind of doubt that I have to look at, whether you like the person or don't like the person, right? And this is why a lot of people end up going into all these really crazy cult things. I don't know if you've been like, so the twin flame one, I couldn't watch. I watched half an episode of one on Netflix, and I had to take it off. I'm like, how fucking stupid is this? Sorry, I just could not watch it. It was not, it just watching how people were so desperate, and it frustrates me to see people so desperate like that, because I just like, I want to help. Like, I'm just like, I want to just take them and shake them. It's like, no, like, these people are so nice. Like, they don't even have the it factor, right? And that mother goddess one, right? And watching that was just amazing, but she was more detrimental to herself than she was to anybody else. I mean, she ended up mummifying herself. And from her eating disorder and her drugs and her alcohol and stuff like that, kind of reminds me sort of like a Janis Joplin kind of thing. But anyways, but she was very, at the end, where everything was just breaking down on her, and it was more of like, oh my God, like I just, my heart kind of went out to her because of so much pain she had within herself, and then calling herself a god. She's the mother goddess, the mother god. And what I loved is that she would just choose other men and say, no, you're my god now. I thought that was hilarious. And these guys were just like, ooh, kind of funny, and like, oh, you're a demigod, I only have you only once a week, kind of thing. That was kind of interesting. But the power that she had over people was quite interesting, because people, again, they're looking for something. But again, this is the Piscean energy. They're looking for something outside of themselves. That's what we have to overcome. Looking for something outside of yourself, meaning that when we look at religion, when we look at anything to do with, with cults, is like you're looking outside of yourself. They're going to save me. That's going to save me. And this is here now. We're going to come back to the winter solstice, and we're going to come back to that internal energy of like, no, I need to allow this light to come within me and light me up, light my internal self up, allow myself to shine brightly. Because when I do that, then I'm allowing others to do the same. It's like a candle mass when everything is dark, and then one candle lights, and another, and another, and another, and the whole church, the whole place is lit by candles. It's beautiful. But you're allowing that light to shine with one another, and you're helping. You're here, you can use some of my flame, you can use some of my flame, you can use some of my flame. That's where it is. It's not out there, it's in here. When we align within here, and we align within the heart, we align with such beauty, such grace. It's phenomenal. And that's where we have to go into. We have to come into the heart, and that's what this is showing me. When I look at the astrology, and I look at the aspects that are coming in, and that of with Saturn and with Neptune, and all of those lovely little shenanigans up there, they're showing us that there's going to be a lot of endings that are going to be extremely difficult for us to really take in and deal with, to beautiful beginnings that are going to be like, what the fuck? Like, is this real? That's the extreme of 2024. And this winter solstice is, because this is the last quarter of the astrological year. I mean, for years before we had the calendars we have now, it the new year started in March, which was the beginning of the year, the beginning of spring. So we have this last quarter that's happening. And in this last quarter is really where we have to come into that, into oneself and into one's heart, right? And as we come into self, and we come into this beautiful heart space, we're coming into our power and our essence and our truth. And when we come into our essence and our power and our truth, and we allow ourselves to be that crazy, wonderful, wild, scrumptious, delicious, voluptuous being we are, it could be scary not only for ourselves, but it could be scary to others, because we haven't contacted her yet or him yet. And this is where we're not coming in to violate, hurt, maim, kill, or any of those things. We're coming out and saying, hey, I'm just coming out in my love. I'm just coming out in my joy. I'm coming out in my laughter. And in coming out in my joy and my laughter and my bliss, I want you to have some too. And I want you to have some. And the thing is that it doesn't empty your cup, because when you're doing that, your cup gets refilled. Because the other fear is like, oh, I'm going to get so drained. No, because it's like, okay, you know what? I got to come back. I got to restore. Okay, I'm back. I'm restoring. I'm in connection. I'm doing this. I'm able to go back out. I'm coming back. I'm going to come back. I'm going to come into my connection. Then I can go back out. You get into the ebb and the flow of who you are. It's not where it's like, oh, I got to give, and I got to give, and I got to give, and I'm going to do this for you and you and you and you and you and you, because that's the only way I can get that, whatever that is out there, is by giving. But if I'm in my ebb and my flow, right? I'm in my beauty. I'm in that beautiful Neptunian energy, that beautiful alignment of self-reliance, of self-love, of self-care, of truth. It's a whole different thing. It's a whole different thing. And it brings you into such power and glory, but not in a prudish, egotistical way. And that's going to be that's why a lot of people don't wanna speak out. That's why a lot of people, because it's like it's fearful, because if I speak out and people know who I am, then they're gonna point a finger and they're gonna tell me something. And then what? I lose 40% of my clientele, but I'm still here. I'm still here. People are gonna say, "Oh, she's a wackadoodle." Yeah. Well, I already know I'm a fucking wackadoodle. You know? This is where you just continue doing, because you know what? Eventually, there will be people that will see and will want to spread more light with you, and that's great. And then they will go off and spread the light in other beautiful places, and others will come in and they'll spread out and go in other beautiful places. And that's what I love. I love when I see others spring up and do wondrous, beautiful things, because it came from an ember, came from a spark. Maybe I did it? Nah, it was the divine. It was the divine. And that's what's so fucking beautiful about this. It's a powerful winter solstice. Embrace it. Get a simmer pot going. If you don't have the Scott Cunningham Encyclopedia of Herbs, go on Amazon and order it. Get it. Okay? I don't think it's in PDF form, but I would really say go out and get it. If you're wanting to know what a simmer pot is, it's like a potpourri on your stove, and you can add cinnamon and cloves. Add in the add springs of, things of rose, hibiscus. You can add some nutmeg. You can add some all kinds of beautiful things, right? And do that. So you can even I keep on getting oranges. So add oranges, because oranges is the sun. So you can add some orange stuff in there, to add in, right? So you're bringing that simmering beautifulness into your home. Okay. You can add a little bit of cinnamon onto your. I keep on getting cinnamon, but you can add nutmeg and stuff like that onto your candles, and dress your candles, for that protection, right? You can go out to I go to I've been going to the body shop, the Bath and Body Shop, because their candles, I like them. They smell great. They have my house smell great. And um I hate to say, it's like some of these candle makers that are out there at the markets are not very good candle makers. Either the candle doesn't burn, or they don't really smell, because I want this, they're not tested out. And when I burn candles, man. I burn a lot of candles. Um, and just bringing that in, and incense. So I burn a lot of candles and incense. I've gone through 5 big 3 candles, like candles are meant to burn. I've gone through like 5, because Olivia took one. Um, Candles since, Black Friday, big candles. That's how much I burn them. Because when I do my stuff in the morning and start in the morning, I light my candle, and then when I leave, of course, I blow it out. Then I come back, if I'm doing more work and stuff, I always light a candle. So and bringing and having that candle lit, you know? So I do that. Today we're gonna be doing a simmer pot, Steve and I, and put a little simmer pot on the back of the stove. And if you have wax melts too, you can do little wax melts. I do have some wax melts, but they're not I don't have I need one of the little ceramic thingies again. I lost mine in my many moves. But anyways, those are the types of things to do, and to bring in that sacredness for this winter solstice, because this winter solstice is a powerful one. And it's one that, a lot of times within the community, everybody's out there, "Oh, it's so much light." No, you gotta remember the sun god died. The sun god is dead for 3 days, and he rises again. Sounds familiar, right? So the sun god dies, and he rises again on the 25th of December. He's born, and this is also the time when the mother goddess is giving birth. So the mother goddess is actually in labor for 3 days until she gives birth to the light. So, blessings out to the Mother Goddess because the earth has to give birth to the light. So, here we go. We're giving birth to the light. We're bringing that light in, So, our ancestors knew a little bit of something, something, And as I said, it's bringing that back, that light. And some of this, it's a new light. It's a new way because the age of Aquarius is not what everybody thinks it is. It's not that, oh, this is the age of Aquarius. No, it's a little bit different. There's a little bit of sci-fi in there and a little bit of craziness that comes in with Aquarius. Because Aquarius is it's don't fuck with me sign. If you don't want to be fucked with. If you want to fuck with me, I'll fuck with you right back. I'm not good, because it's the sign of I know and trusting in their knowingness. So, on that, I'm going to send you guys out so much love. I will pull a card. I saw a beautiful tarot deck that somebody was using online, and it's based off the Reader Rider deck, but the artwork on it might have been the golden one, but each of the cards had beautiful, vivid, sort of beautiful muted colors on it, and it was just trying to find that deck with because I still want the Reader Rider pictures, right? Those pictures, but there's one that has I've seen people do different ones, and they look too AI-ish. I'm not an AI, like, oh, AI must have did that kind of thing for artwork. What is it? Ooh, the Two of Summers. The Two of Summers is it's the Two of Waters. The Two of Cups coming together. So there's something coming together. There is where resolution is there, but you got to come into the forgiveness. You got to allow for the water to wash and cleanse ourselves so that we are able to be healed and not to give up. And it's the Eight of Pentacles or the Eight of Autumns, the Eight of Crystals. This is about, making sure, let's do the work. Let's look into what it is that we need to do. What is it that I need to do to heal myself? What do I need to learn? It's like I always want to learn. Like there's some great astrology classes I really want to take. And learn and allow myself to become more of an excellent craftsman of what I do, right? So this is, looking at long-term projects because things don't just happen overnight. So allow yourself as you're cleansing, you're creating and you're bringing in something new. What is it that you want to bring in new and do? And with that, so we got double twos. So there's something there to bring in for a balance. Two of Waters, Two of Pentacles. So there's that water and earth coming together, which can be a beautiful mixture, can really bring in something of new growth, new substance, right? So we want to bring in some fun. We want to bring in some energy into this so that it's just not all sappy and sorrow and all of that. We want to bring in joy. We want to bring in dance. We want to light the fire. We want to dance around. We want to give thanks to the sun god. We want to give thanks to the earth and to the heavens and to all that is. And as we do that, we want to bring forth the abundance, the health, the love, the joy, the longevity for ourselves. Because you can't do things when you're sick. And it's very difficult if you're trying to just scrape two pennies together to do stuff. So you want to bring in that abundance so that you can help and prosper with so many more people. There you go. Have a blessed one, everybody. And may the Lord Almighty watch over and bless each and every one of you in all that you say and all that you be and all that you do. Have a great summer solstice today. Enjoy, embrace, have fun. Bye-bye, everyone. Talk to you soon.